Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rock Roundtable. I'm Chris Bargle, your host, and today we will be discussing the Beatles' album openers, and in particular, we will be ranking them in relation to each other, discussing how well they work to open their respective albums, and we'll also just be discussing our thoughts on the songs and which ones are better and worse than others. So, today with me, in addition to myself, I have Ben,
No reply.
Matthew,
I Dig a Pygmy by Charles Hartley and the Deaf Aids.
and Santiago.
Help! I need somebody.
Alright.
Yeah. Hi.
So, I guess we might as well get right into it. I only have the first, original Beatles studio albums here. We're not doing the US albums. We're not doing Yellow Submarine. We are doing Magical Mystery Tour, though, so that's a thing that we will discuss. So, yeah, I mean, starting off, we have the first two Beatles album openers, which is, I guess we should start with discuss the first one. I Saw Her Standing There. What are y'all's thoughts on this song?
It's one of the
Uh,
better songs on Please Please Me, in my opinion, but it's not like the best song on it. I still enjoy it though. Um, I listen to it fairly regularly, I think, but um, it's not the best song on that album.
it's okay. Like there are better songs than Please Please Me than I Saw Her Stand There, but it's fine.
What about you, Santiago?
I think it's an iconic opening for being the very first Beatles album in the discography. I just love how it starts. Like, one, two, three, like, it's just somehow very fitting for being, like, the opener for the first album in the discography. So I think it's a solid opener.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it really starts the album off with a lot of energy, which is good. And I really think Santiago's Light is very iconic. It starts with a little countdown, at least the UK version does. Gets a little bit cut off in the original US False Beatles album, but I think that's very good. I think it works pretty well as an album opener, especially considering it's their first album's first song. It's really the first Beatles kind of studio album song, so I think that's very important. And I do think it really starts them off right on a pretty good, first foot. It works well. It's better than some other bands. I guess first album's first track. I'd say it's better than either the Rolling Stones or the Who had as their first album's first track. So yeah, I mean, I think it's overall pretty solid. Good song, good energy. It's not the best they've ever done. It's not even the best on the album. Although it is pretty high on the album. If ranking them. But yeah, I think it works pretty well as the album opener to Please Please Me. Alright, and also next then is It Won't Be Long. That is the opening track of With the Beatles. What are y'all's thoughts on the song It Won't Be Long?
It's a good vocal song, but I think I Saw Her Standing There is better. I do sometimes have I Won't Be Long,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
head though.
yeah,
But it won't be long actually. It won't be long.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's a good rock song, but I Saw Her Standing There is just more iconic, I guess. It has a little bit more to it, it feels like, than It Won't Be Long. But that doesn't mean I dislike It Won't Be Long. That is a fun song to sing.
Alright, Matthew, what are your thoughts on It Won't Be Long?
It's fine. It's decent. It has like that kind of early Beatles kind of rock and roll type sound, but I think I Saw Her Standing There is a more interesting song, and that I think what we will see is there are better openers than this one. So I put it below I Saw Her Standing There.
Santiago, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Ben. I think it's not as iconic as I saw her standing there. Like it's a okay song to me. Like it's fine, but it's not like I will not say it's as iconic as the previous one as an opener. So yeah, it's pretty normal to me. Normal song. It's a fun song, of course, but I just see it like a normal opening, not as interesting as others in the discography. So yeah,
I'm going to be honest. Like as far as an album opener will go, it isn't the best. Of course, I always think this is kind of the weakest Beatles album. I used to think Beatles Full Sail was the weakest Beatles album of the UK albums, but I've kind of come around on it to some degree now. I think With the Beatles is the weakest Beatles UK album. I will say though, I think the overall songs of the album that could have worked better as an opening track. So yeah, I mean it won't be long. It's not the best song or track. I mean it's probably the worst song here, which isn't saying it's a bad song either. But I don't think it really opens the album up all that well. All things considered. So I will agree with everyone's statement that we should put it below I Saw Her Standing There. So up next is A Hard Day's Night, the opening track of A Hard Day's Night. Um, what are y'all's thoughts on this song? Ben, you go first.
Oh yeah, this song is a whole lot better than those other two, which does not mean that I don't like those other two. I like both of them. This one is so much better. It's like probably like the best song of that whole year. Um, it's just an excellent piece. It has kind of the rocking energy of It Won't Be Long, but even more intense, and it's also just the production's a lot better, the development of the song is a lot more mature. It's just a lot better. I don't know what else to say.
All right, Matthew.
I agree. This is the first great Beatles opening song. We knew, like, you basically knew that this was going to be a banger when the first guitar riff hits. Probably like the greatest guitar riff of all time, so I put it on top.
All
So
right,
far, anyway.
Santiago.
yeah, I think this song like takes it a step further comparing I saw her standing there like just a whole new level of opening track. And yeah, it's a masterpiece. It's one of those. It's a crucial point in the Beatles' career, like when this Beatlemania began and this song was playing everywhere. So I think it was as a song opener. It's like a good introduction for the people who were getting into the Beatles. So I think it's great, a great song as the self-titled album as an opening. So yeah, I agree there.
Yeah, well, I think it's a very, very good song. I think it starts off in a very iconic way with a very kind of dramatic way. The song opens with the, dong, it's been a hard day's night, It works well for the movie's opening credit scene, and the fact that it's kind of an opening credit song to begin with also kind of, I think, adds to its ability to open the album as well. Of course, it's also the title track of the album. Was obviously I Saw Her Standing There was not the title track of Please Please Me, and With the Beatles did not have a title track. It really starts out off very iconic, one of its best songs, well, the best song on the album, and it's also, of course, from the movie as well. So I think we all agree that we should put it at the three we've done so far in first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should go in the top.
All right.
It's just the perfect opening.
I'll agree to that. It is one of the best Beatles album openers, I'd say, just in general. Alright, up next from Beatles Will Sell, we have No Reply. What are y'all's thoughts on this song, both as a song and as an album opener? Ben?
I think this is a pretty good album opener. I like it just like I like the next song on there. Though the next song on there is better, but I think that this is still a pretty mature older Beatles song. It has kind of a sense of um having, some sort of loss in a. I mean, he's still not self-reflecting as much as he does in the next song, but he is engaging with the theme of, that he's been rejected by this woman and then she's out with some other guy in a more sophisticated way the previous Beatles songs about breakups have. So I think that this is a particularly good piece by John. Still not as good as A Whole Day's Night, but I would say it's more sophisticated than I saw her standing there, and it won't be long.
Okay, Matthew.
I think I'm kind of more indifferent about No Reply. Um, I would personally probably put it at the bottom of It Won't Be Long. But if someone overwrites that, says it's better than It Won't Be Long, I'm fine with that. It's kind of it's fine basically.
I will say that it also has very good harmonies. Often harmonies in all the Beatles obviously are designed to hype you up. But in this song, I think it's used in a way to convey kind of a longingness a sense of longing that I think is quite effective.
Santiago, what are your thoughts on No Reply?
It's an okay opener. It's not like as iconic as the as I saw her standing there I Hard Day's Night, but it's worth mentioning that it's just very different from the previous openers because here it's showing this kind of transition. They were going into the Help album, and I think it's just okay, it's just it's a nice song. It's, as Ben said, it's a nice young song. It's not like uh I don't know, like a big opening as I said, but still it's an interesting song as it shows something different as an opening from the previous one. Yeah.
Well, here's my thoughts on No Reply. My thoughts on No Reply is it's a good song, and you can kind of hear them start to drift to where they would be on Help on some of these original songs from Beatles to Sell. It's the most uneven Beatles album, Beatles to Sell, um, as you do have a lot of covers and stuff, but I think that No Reply is among the best songs on it. Not necessarily saying it is the best song on it, but you have stuff on that album that's kind of more Hard Day's Night style stuff, like 8 Days a Week, and then you have a more Help style stuff like No Reply, which I kind of prefer in a way. As people know, I am, unlike Ben, a big fan of Help. So yeah, I mean, I think No Reply is a solid album opener. It's one of the Shake Your albums, I guess. It's a much more inconsistent album, I'd say, than Evil Please Please Me or With the Beatles, though, as I said, I do think it is a better album than With the Beatles. But I think No Reply, how it works both as a song and as an album opener, is really, really good. Like, No Reply is one of the main reasons that Beatles will sell is better than With the Beatles, as it has songs like it on it, even if they're kind of spread out with some filler. And you can start to hear kind of a more maturing sound that, as I said, starts to lean towards Help and Rubber Soul on it. So I do quite like No Reply. So I have to ask, where do you all think No Reply should go in the ranking? I want to start with Ben.
I think No Reply should go right after A Whole Day's Night.
Okay, Matthew, where do you think it should go?
I think it should go below It Won't Be Long.
Santiago, where do you think it should go?
I'll put it below. I saw her standing there.
Okay, Matthew and Santiago have different placements on it. Matthew thinks it should be at 4, Santiago thinks it should be at 3, Ben thinks it should be at 2. So essentially, I'm here to tiebreak. I have to side with one of their options because they have picked every option. So I have to choose where to put it, and I think if you listen to what I said, I think you'll know which one of these people I'm going to agree with. I'm going to agree with Ben and put it in second.
No, wait a second.
What the
No.
fuck?
No,
Sorry.
no. That's malarkey. This isn't better than I saw her standing.
It's definitely
So
better than It Won't Be Long. You thought it should go below It Won't
It
Be
should be
Long.
in the third place. It should be in
no,
the
it should be
third
third.
place
It
at
it
least.
doesn't have anything defining as I saw her standing there though.
I'd argue
It
it's a
does.
better.
It has harmonies. It has its
Well, a
themes.
lot of songs have harmonies. Like basically, that doesn't mean anything.
But the harmonies play a different role in this song than it does in like other early Beatles songs.
And it has a better sound to it. You can start to hear a bit more of a folksy way that the harmonies and whatever come onto it that starts leaning towards more of a help wobble soul style.
No, that's like saying, "Oh man, this musical has melodies. That means it's good." No, that's all right. That doesn't make
The
any
themes are
sense.
also good.
Also,
Matthew.
Ben is the person that has a hate boner for "I Need You,"
I-
so that probably will motivate his ranking of the next song.
Oh, almost certainly, but I think for now, look, so Matthew and Santiago thinks it should be in Fjord. Me and Ben think it should be in second. We are at an impasse here. Anyone have any suggestions?
I mean, I'm not moving on this one.
Well, I don't
think
plan
this.
on moving either. I think
I like-
I think both it and I Saw Her Standing There are very iconic opening tracks. I Saw Her Standing There might
No,
work
no, no,
somewhat better as an album opener, but No Reply is the far better song in my opinion.
I thought this episode is about what is the better. This is the best Beatles openers. This isn't
Well, that's
like
true too.
sure that invalidates your argument because you said that I Saw Her Standing There is a better opening than No Reply. So I think that's you conceding to our side.
It's not though. I think No Reply opens, and especially its relationship with the next track, I'm a Loser, in many ways is an excellent opening for Beatles For Sale, and is in fact probably the most coherent opening setup in any Beatles album so far. Now, I like the song A Whole Day's Night better. It also introduces the entire album, I think, better in some ways. But in terms of like an conceptual way of like thinking about how should this album open, not just being a collection of songs, Nova probably has a very important role in that. And is in fact probably one of the first songs I can think of on any album that works like that. Honestly, I'm beginning to talk myself into the Ville's argument for putting it at number 1, but I'm not going
No,
No.
dude,
because A Whole Day's Night is a better song.
No.
This is what happens. This is what happens. You start saying crazy things. You start saying, "Oh man,
Is it a better song than A Whole Day's Night? Obviously not. Obviously not. A Whole Day's Night productions and construction and stuff is basically perfect. No Replies is not basically perfect. It's not. It doesn't have that like oomph to A Whole Day's Night. Nevertheless, in terms of thinking about whether an album opener works as a good album opener, yes, A Whole Day's Night does that. I think I Saw Her Standing There also does that just because it like sets the energy. But in terms of like constructing a theme or an idea, though unfortunately Beatles for Sale the album does not continue this as much as I would like it to. I do take No Reply, and also No Reply's interaction with its follow-up song "I'm a Loser" acts as a strong opening, stronger as an opening than I Saw Her Standing There, which is basically just a song at an opening. I have the opening of a collection of songs, and I just put a relatively strong song at that opening. But with No Reply, it is actively tone setting. Also, it's just a better song
It's
than
not a better song. I'm
it,
not even like the biggest like I
it will
Saw
be.
Her Standing There fan, but it's not better than that song.
Look, I have
It is
something I
better.
wish to say. First off, inside it is better than I Saw Her Standing There. I will say I Saw Her Standing There. It still might be a better, just straight up album opener, as in like the first sound that comes out of the speaker. But I will say that I think No Reply is much more vital to the album it's on. It's one of the most like key reasons to want to like own that album, along with a few other songs for me. Like I'm Loser, some of the songs on side two, like What You're Doing, and of course 8 Days a Week, and all of a sudden a lot of good original songs. I mean, on that album, Beatles for Sale. Since they had so many covers because they had done all originals on a Whole Day's Night, they didn't have time, I guess, to make it completely all original. So they filled out with a bunch of covers, but it was very important then for them to, if they were going to have an album arranged like that, especially at that point after they had just already done one that was all original, to have original songs on it and have, if they have, covers and a bunch of covers on it, the original songs on it need to be, you know, great. They need to be top notch. They need to be top tier. And No Reply opens up the album with basically the most, highest point, sort of the best, most, at that point, almost most refined sort of style from the Beatles. I think that is very, very, very good way to open the album. And so I am still with Ben on having it at second.
So y'all are basically stretching the rules to your advantage because the last time I remember this episode is called "It's Best Beatles Openers." We're not
I
talking.
just explained why it's one of the best Beatles album openers.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not moving from this either because this is ridiculous.
I mean,
Because
I argued that it set the tone for the album in a better way.
that doesn't mean anything because
That's not the
Beatles for
point.
Sale is not is like an inferior album than Please Please Me.
That's true, but that's not the point.
I don't actually agree with that, though.
What?
I mean, Please Please Me is an enjoyable
Please
album.
Please Me is more consistent. I'd argue
I'm not even like,
but that's
I'm
not
not
the
even
point.
I'm not even like, oh man, Please Please Me is like a top 5 favorite album. Even the Beatles produce way better albums than Please Please Me. However, I Saw Her Standing There, even if it's basically like a teeny like pop album, it gives it's just better than No Reply.
I mean, once again, I Saw Her Standing There. It's a perfect.
I'm not debating that. I'm just saying you're wrong in saying that No Reply is better than I Saw Her Standing There.
I agree with Matthew.
Look,
This is going to take too long. Just concede that I Saw Her Standing There is better than No Reply. You're just filibustering, basically.
No, we're not conceding. I mean, your position is that it should be at the bottom. Santiago's position is that it should be third. Chris and I's is that it should be second.
But what basically me and Santiago are agreeing with, it shouldn't be second.
Yeah, but you think it should be at different places, though. So it's not
that doesn't matter. I basically said it shouldn't be second.
You've explained, Matthew, why you think it's worse than I Saw Her Standing There, but you have yet to sufficiently explain why you think it's worse than It Won't Be Long.
I don't know. It's like, to be honest, the first couple of the Beatles opening tracks are kind of like, they're okay. Like, I also have to mention that this isn't the Beatles era that I'm like basically convinced, oh, this is the greatest band that ever walked the earth. Like I'm basically very much from Help till Let It Be. That's like basically my mindset.
Help was the album that turned the Beatles from a great band to legends. Hard Day's Night was the album that changed them from a good band to great band, and then Help was the album that changed them to legends.
Yeah, but like this era of like Beatles stuff, I'm not like, oh man, there's some good songs in here. Like I really like A Hard Day's Night, Please Please Me, I Want to Hold Your Hand, um, I Feel Fine. Like all they've done like really good stuff, but these openers are like they're fine. Like they're better openers than some albums. Come on, like it's
I saw her standing there.
I
I
know
not
he
genuinely
died.
did. But I now know how you felt when I said I don't understand why you all love I Need You. Because it's just like
well, this is totally different because
no,
I
it's
Need
not.
You is a way better song than No Reply.
I mean,
Both
no,
are
it
bangers.
isn't. But it's so short.
Be quiet, Ben. I don't need your slander. You're so mad that you lost.
I mean, here's the deal. No Reply is a great song. It's not like it's not an
It's not
amazing
even. It's
song. Great
okay.
song.
It's okay to say it's fine or it's decent. It's not great.
So I would say I Saw Her Standing There was a good song.
Yeah,
It's a good song.
yeah.
No Reply is a great song.
Oh my
He's what?
Really?
And A Whole Day's
No,
Night is an
you're not.
amazing song.
Ben was wrong about his hate of the album Help. He was wrong about his hatred of the
I love
song.
Help, actually.
I don't know. You didn't sound like it a couple episodes ago.
We will learn about how I felt about Help soon enough. I'm just not conceding. There's no point for me to concede. Because I'm right.
Santiago
No, you're
should
not.
concede to us.
No, I will not yield. I will not yield.
No Reply is just a. It's not the best song on Beatles for Sale. It's not the second best song on Beatles for Sale, but it's the third best song on Beatles for Sale.
Okay, that's fine, I guess.
There was one amazing song on Beatles for Sale. Maybe even two.
So I'm assuming when we say that there are two amazing songs on Beatles for Sale, I'm assuming we're talking about I'm a Loser and I'll Follow the Sun.
I don't know about. Yeah, sure, I guess.
I'm gonna be honest, I probably like No Reply better than I'll Follow the Sun, though, so I don't know why you're putting it above it, Ben.
No, I'm obviously talking about I'm a Loser and 8 Days a Week.
I'm a loser.
I don't know about that.
I'm a loser.
Are you being 8 Days a Week?
In love.
It's not a bad song, but it feels kind of like a step back compared to some of the progressions of some of these other songs on the album. It's more of a Hard Day's Night style song than it is a, No Reply, I'm a Loser sort of song.
I mean, that's true.
Those are more Help-styled songs, whereas 8 Days a Week is more of a Hard Day's Night style song.
I mean, yeah, 8 Days a Week is still definitely in the early Beatles period, but like, I don't know, it's still a banger.
I think my idea of flipping a coin was good. Ben, which do you choose, heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, we're going to do best of three. Okay, that is tails, so that's one for tails.
Okay. So I saw her standing there. Miss Tails.
That is heads, so that is one for No Reply. So this last one, I guess, decides it. It is heads. It is No Reply. No Reply is going above in second. I'm sorry, y'all. Alright, so the next song is Help from Help. Now Ben's probably going to want to put this below, it won't be long.
Yeah,
So-
he would put it below it to his precious No Reply.
I would put Help at number 1.
I would put Help at 2.
Santiago, what are your thoughts on the song Help?
I think Help is a great opener because it has it starts with a lot of energy to the album. I think it's also one of those masterpiece songs made by John Lennon. Uh, I don't know. I just feel there's something so cool of being an opener for an album, also self-titled like A Hard Stay Night. And yeah, like I will put it in the second place as well.
Alright. Ben, we know you hate Help. I'm assuming you want to put it last.
No, forced. I want to put
He
it
said
forth.
first.
Despite the slanderous allegations that I hate Help, Help is an excellent album that really develops the Beatles,
Okay.
really
Well,
develops the
he said it's an
personality,
excellent
the
album, but
folk
he
influences, they'll like introspection, and all of these things are present on Help. It is arguably one of the best album openers in all of human history.
yet he has a hate boner for "I Need You,"
I think
and
Help.
also "Yesterday."
I do
So
not
I
hate
don't think
Yesterday.
I
I
don't think he
it's like a
actually
9.
likes Help, the album.
Well, Ben thinks you're gonna lose that goal as the best song on Help, so.
Very real, very true.
You said that once.
No, I did
Okay,
not.
Chris,
I
what is
said that
your
I thought it was a
vote?
good
Okay, and
song.
listen. Here's what I have to say about Help. The song, not the album. Although you all know I love the album Help. Help. It's a very good song. It's a very good album opener. It starts very suddenly and off with a lot of energy, a lot like A Hard Day's Night. I would argue that this song has even better lyrics to it, although A Hard Day's Night's lyrics were great as well. I guess it's missing as good of a bridge as A Hard Day's Night, but I think Help is a really great album opener. It was the opening song of the movie as well, much like On a Hard Day's Night. It's the title track of the album again, much like A Hard Day's Night. But it's very, very refined. It's very good. I really like the sort of, lead vocal John does that. The backing vocal Paul does. And I really like the lyrics. And I think it really just gets the album started off right. I am personally going to agree with Ben, which is going to put us at another impasse here because me and Ben both think it should be first, and you all think it should be second.
Not conceding.
Santiago.
It's fine. You can place it at the first place. I feel it's like also matching with the Hard Stays Night. So I wouldn't neither have a problem if it goes in the first place. So yeah.
It's
Okay,
not as inexcusable as putting No Reply above I Saw Her Standing There.
Santiago has agreed, so as such, we are going to put it in first. So up next is from Mobile Soul, Drive My Car. Ben, what are your thoughts on this song?
I like Drive My Car. It's kind of an unusual album opening because it kind of doesn't sound like a lot of the rest of the songs on the album. Nevertheless, I really do enjoy the song. I would place it in Fjord above No Reply. It's a weaker album opener than Help and A Whole Day's Night. I mean, maybe honestly, I could probably be talked into putting it below No Reply in the sense of I do think No Reply in some ways makes more sense as a tone settle.
Okay,
But at the same time, I do like Drive My Car better. I like even if it is somewhat production wise and not being as folky or whatever, quite a bit different than the rest of Robo Soul. I do think it still matches Robo Soul. I think you could easily exaggerate, and I probably just was how different it is from the rest of the album. And it does open the album with a lot of energy that then continues on throughout the album. And the energy just is somewhat similar even as it transforms through different genre influences. So I would put it above No Reply, but yeah, it's not as good as A Hard Day's Night or Help in terms of evil tone setting or just as songs.
alright. I'm gonna get to you, Matthew and Santiago, but to follow up on what Ben said, I kind of want to give my thoughts. I do think that it is in a slightly different style than the other more kind of folk influenced songs on Wobble Soul. I've seen some people claim that actually the American version of Wobble Soul, which opens with "I've just seen a face," is better than it, and or at least more consistent in terms of the sound. well, I'm not necessarily a American Mobile Soul over the UK enjoyer. I will say that I've just seen a face does fit in better with some other songs of the album than Drive My Car does, although the American version also cut some songs that did fit in with the rest of the album pretty good, so, that was kind of dumb. But still, I say Drive My Car, I don't think works the best as an album opener. It's definitely better than It Won't Be Long. I'd say it's probably a better song than I Saw Her Standing. Well, it's definitely a better song than I Saw Her Standing There. But I would argue it works less well as an album opener. It's less iconic as an album opener than I Saw Her Standing There. So I will say, personally, I would put it in between I Saw Her Standing There and It Won't Be Long. Matthew, it's your turn.
I put it at third.
Santiago?
At first, this song was literally like my least favorite from Rover Soul, especially as an opener. I kind of feel it off, honestly. But then it grew on me. This song, like I will not. I feel as it's not as great as the other songs has openers. So I will even still put it below It Won't Be Long, just in the sixth, yeah, place.
Okay, we all kind of, I guess, at somewhat of a impasse again. Santiago's position is, I guess, closer to mine. So we've chosen different battle lines here.
Yeah.
It's now been in Matthew versus me and Santiago. I just think it doesn't really work all that well for us, the album. It's a good song. If it had been on something like with the Beatles, or even A Whole Day's Night, it would have been a decent album opener, although still weaker than I think the openers those albums had in some ways. Well, except for with the Beatles. I certainly think it's better than It Won't Be Long. But it doesn't work as well with the album it's on. Now, I will say I disagree with Santiago that it's the weakest song on Rebel Soul that it used to be, in his opinion. I think he said he changed, but
wait a minute. Didn't Rubber Soul also have like legit the worst Beatles song of all time?
we will cover that when we do our episode ranking the Beatles album closers.
Well, we all know where that's gonna be. So
Yeah.
Well,
that's not that hard.
We all know what's going to be the worst Beatles album
Not
closer.
that hard.
There was one Beatles album because of it takes an album that is like a 10 out of 10 album and then makes it not that.
Yeah, look, here's the thing, I just don't think Drive My Car works as well with, the rest of the album. I'd honestly argue that maybe Drive My Car should have been on the single with Day Triple, and, We Can Work It Out or something should have been here instead on the album.
So you're saying that No Reply does a better job with connecting with the album that's in than Drive My Car, which Rubber Soul is a far superior album than
Rubber Soul
Beatles.
is a full superior album, but No Reply does a lot of heavy lifting on its album, whereas Drive My Car doesn't have to because of West of Rubber Soul is so good. And what Drive My Car does is it's a great song. I like it being on there. I do prefer the UK track listing to Rubber Soul, but I will say it doesn't really work that well as an album opener. And it is a little out of place, okay?
You're talking out of both sides of your mouths here. You're basically saying, well, No Reply, which is obviously on a weaker album, and like it basically is a better one than Drive My Car, and I stand there. But when you basically have one that's way better in Drive My Car, which leads to a almost great album except for the last song, then it's cool. Come on.
Drive My Car is a great song, but it's miscast as Rubber Soul's album opener.
It's a better album opener than No Reply.
Nah,
I don't.
I think I agree with Chris that this feels very, as I said, this feels very off. Like it really doesn't, let's say, match
to the aesthetic of the album or what this album is supposed to sound. I don't know how to refer to it, but well, uh, and compared to No Reply, I think No Reply does a better job of connecting to the style of the other songs within the album. Like those a better job there compared to Drive My Car.
I'm not budging on this
Look,
one.
all I have to say is quite simply, Drive My Car, it's a really good song, but it just doesn't really jive with the more sort of folksy Dylan influenced sound that is present throughout Global Soul. I think something like Norwegian Wood would have been a better album opener than Drive My Car. I kind of understand why Drive My Car is on there. I think it's so if like people were like sampling the album in record shops, the first song they would hear would be a Hard Day's Night or singly sounding song, as opposed to the more kind of out there, more mature, less I guess you know, youth oriented, kind of more folk, more introspective songs. But, that is sort of why I like Global Soul so much. And Drive My Car, it's a great song. I appreciate being on the album. I certainly don't think it should have been cut. But I don't think it really works all that well as an album opener. If anything, it would have been better as the album ender.
I'll actually agree
Yeah.
with what Chris just said, but that doesn't mean that I agree that is less good than I saw her standing there. Or I could probably be willing to compromise and have it below No Reply, but that
No, I'm not going to
it's
compromise
not
on
going
that.
to do that. I said that I would be willing to compromise on that. But yes, as long as we're not compromised, I am going to stay with Matthew and say that it's a better song. Well, it's a better song than No Reply. Well, I like it better than No Reply at least. And also, I mean, if other people were willing to move to having it right below No Reply, I would also be willing to do that.
I would be willing to compromise with you, Ben, by moving it under No Reply by above I Saw Her Standing There. What about you, Santiago?
I will still leave it there. Below it won't be long.
Look,
Okay, so
we need a
my position is-
compromise. Me and Ben have reached a compromise that is in between where Matthew and Santiago would place it, so I would say that we should probably go with the compromise.
I object.
I mean, would you ever have it below I Won't Be Long?
I
It will be
think
long.
that we should switch. I saw her standing there with No Reply, and then put Drive My Car at third.
No. Because then I wouldn't be compromised with Ben anymore, because we agreed that if we switch I Saw Her Standing There with No Reply, then Drive My Car would be below both of them.
No, Drive My Car would be third. You put I Saw Her Standing There at fourth, and then you put No Reply at fifth.
No, I don't think that's how that works. Look, okay, I guess I'm reverting back from my agreement with Ben. I think it should be here. Ben thinks it should be maybe here as a compromise or here where Matthew wants it. So I just have spaces here now on the screen where different people want it. Oh, and Santiago thinks it should be at the very bottom. So I guess these are the options: 3, 6, and 8. I certainly
Well, it's not
don't.
going on 8.
It's
not going
definitely.
on
It is definitely not. It's definitely.
And
a
it's
better,
not
It's
even
better
going
than
to
it
go
won't be
on
long.
6. And it's not going at 6.
I could be persuaded to put it above I Saw Her Standing There. I think it's a better song over a worse album opener. So I could be persuaded to do a 5, but I don't think you can convince me to put it above No Reply.
I could see the case for it being below No Reply at least.
I don't.
Can
Because No
anyone
Reply
here?
does work very well as an album opener, in my opinion, which I know some of y'all disagree.
Can anyone here explain to me what makes Drive My Car a good album opener to them?
What What makes No Reply a good album opener to Beatles for Sale, though?
We already
Like,
explained that in quite a bit of depth like 20 minutes ago. So like
you know what? I'm basically gonna fold on saying that it's gonna be between No Reply and Saw Her Standing There.
all right, and Ben, you were willing to do that too?
What between no reply and I saw her standing there? Yes, I'm willing to accept that.
Okay, I'm willing to accept that too. It's going at 4. Alright, now, that's the end of this part of this Beatles ranking video. We will do all the rest of the Beatles album openers on next week's episode. That is Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. So I hope you all, if you liked this video, will be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button and keep an eye out for that. Or if we're past September 27th, 2023, do please go find that video and watch it, because it's more of the same, really, and us continuing to argue over these Beatles album openers. So once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.